What is the worst thing someone has ever done to you? When I was 21, I was dating a girl for almost 2 years. I thought she was the one. We lived together, shared bills, even had a dog. One weekend, she told me she was visiting her parents. When I tried to call her the next day, she didn't answer. 3 days later, a random number messaged me. It was a guy. She was sitting next to him in a car, and he said she told him we broke up months ago. She had been dating him for 4 months while still living with me. She took our dog, half of our savings, and moved to another state. I found out because the other guy thought I was the new guy.
I still can't believe this happened, but here goes. A couple of years ago, I moved into a new apartment in a small city. I was excited. Everything seemed perfect. Cheap rent, nice neighbors, and a roommate who seemed super chill. Let's call him Dan. At first, things were normal. We watched Netflix together, shared groceries, even cooked together a few times. Then one day, I noticed something strange. My favorite snacks kept disappearing. Not just chips, candy, chocolate, even my emergency stash of instant noodles. I laughed it off at first, thinking, okay, maybe he's hungry sometimes. But then things escalated. My little stash of cash, just $150 I was saving for a weekend trip, went missing. And this wasn't just a, oh, I borrowed it kind of thing. Dan had literally taken it without telling me. I confronted him, and he just shrugged and said, I thought you wouldn't mind. It's just money. Okay, fine. That was bad, but here comes the twist. One Friday night, I came home from work exhausted, ready to binge watch something ridiculous. I opened the door, and there's he with a tiny inflatable pool set up in the middle of the living room. And not just that, he had filled it with soda and popcorn, like some weird cinematic disaster mashup. I stare at him. He stares back. He says, I figured we should have a movie night, but I also thought it'd be fun to make it immersive. I blinked. My $150 was gone. My snacks were half eaten. My living room was sticky, and there was Dan just laughing like this was normal. I panicked, tried to reason with him, and get this, he slipped on the soda and fell right into the inflatable pool. It popped instantly, spraying soda and popcorn everywhere. My poor rug looked like a crime scene from a snack horror movie. At that moment, I felt a mix of rage, despair, and honestly, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so ridiculous. I spent the next 2 hours cleaning up, shaking my head, muttering, I can't believe this is my life. But the worst part, he didn't leave. He just said, hey, I cleaned the kitchen, didn't I? And I realized this was a man who would never take responsibility, who would ruin your life, eat all your snacks, steal your money, and somehow make you feel like you were the problem. I eventually moved out a month later, but even now, when I think about it, I laugh and cry at the same time. Only in real life could someone steal your money, destroy your living room, and make it funny and tragic all at once.
My roommate decided to borrow my gaming chair one day and didn't tell me. A week later, I noticed a huge rip in the fabric and a stain that looked like, well, let's just say it wasn't from pizza. I asked him what happened. He said, oh, I thought it would be funny if it looked like a haunted chair. He literally staged a ghost poop joke on my chair. I laughed, cried, and immediately took a photo to show my mom.
So this one still haunts me, but also makes me laugh sometimes, which is weird because it's terrible. A few years ago, I had a job at a small cafe. I loved it. Great coworkers, good tips, and honestly, the free coffee was life-saving. There was one coworker, let's call her Kelly. At first, everything seemed fine. We joked around, shared shifts, the usual. One Friday, our manager announced a big weekend event. Tons of customers expected, really stressful. Kelly was on shift with me, and I trusted her completely. Big mistake. Around noon, I noticed something weird. The espresso machine kept malfunctioning, weird shots coming out. Cappuccinos looking like melted chocolate disasters. And every time I asked Kelly, she just said, oh, I pressed the wrong button. No big deal. By the afternoon, the cafe was packed. People were waiting forever for drinks. I went to check the storage room for more supplies and found Kelly pouring all the remaining milk into a bag of coffee beans. I blinked. She looked at me and said, very calmly, "It's fine. I thought it'd be funny if the coffee tasted different." Funny! She thought ruining everyone's coffee orders was funny. Meanwhile, I'm panicking, managers are yelling, and customers are staring like I personally caused a coffee apocalypse. But it gets worse. Around 5 p.m., I got a text from my bank. Apparently, Kelly had used my employee card to order an online shopping spree, over $600 worth of random junk. She had access because I had left it in my locker. I confronted her. Her response? "I needed some retail therapy. You'll forgive me, right?" At this point, I felt like my life was a tragic comedy. All my money gone, my workplace in chaos, and the person I trusted, well, she apparently considered my trust a joke. I had to explain everything to the manager, apologize to customers, and yeah, Kelly quit the next day, probably because she realized I wasn't going to cover for her anymore. Even now, whenever I make coffee at home, I double-check every button, every shot, every cup, because you never know. And honestly, the memory makes me laugh and cry at the same time.
Okay, this is gonna sound totally gross, but I promise it's true, and it ruined my life for a weekend. A few years ago, I had a roommate. Let's call him Tom. He seemed normal, funny, liked video games, nothing unusual, but I should have known. One Friday night, I left the apartment to meet some friends. I told Tom I was leaving my leftover pizza in the fridge. Nothing special, just the small slice. When I came back, I opened the fridge and the smell hit me like a brick. It was awful. I froze. Tom had taken the pizza, apparently crushed it into a paste, and I don't even know how to say this, smeared it all over the walls of the fridge, like every shelf, every corner. He apparently thought it would make the fridge smell more interesting. I gagged. I cried a little. I took a photo because no one would believe me otherwise. But then I found out the worst part. He didn't stop there. While I was at a friend's house, he apparently tried to clean it up by using my toothbrush. He said he didn't want to get his hands dirty. I came home, saw him holding my toothbrush like a trophy, and I just stared. He smiled and said, "It's fine. I disinfected it with toothpaste." I nearly threw up, laughed, and screamed all at once. I ended up buying a new toothbrush, scrubbing the fridge for 2 hours, and almost moving out that night. Even now, whenever I see a slice of pizza, I feel a mix of disgust and laughter. Only Tom could ruin my pizza, my fridge, and my trust, all in one evening.